Good morning, everybody. Well, I guess it's probably afternoon or evening by the time you're watching this one. Hopefully you're able to enjoy your snow day. Brandon Frank coming to you here over the YouTubes this morning with the big snow day and Snowmageddon we got going on. A little tough for us to meet up with college being closed and things, so unfortunately, given the fact that this class only meets once a week and we are only meeting for 5 weeks, we don't really have the ability to slow down and make up time, so we kind of got to keep plowing ahead even though we missed class today. So I was doing some thinking about it, how I could make this work, and you guys could still follow along with me on a Simon Says while I show you what's going on, and I'm able to explain some things with you. And I thought, I know, I'll just make a cool little video, put it on YouTube. You guys can go ahead and watch it at your leisure at home. You guys can step through the Simon Says with me while you're watching it, and that'll work out great. So hopefully this won't take too long, and we can go ahead and get this done. So as you can see right here on chapter 2, we're going to be going and creating a research paper with references and sources. As you look down this example that I have finished, I'm going to go through here again. You can see that not quite as flashy and pizzazzy and colorful and cute as the little puppy flyer. So this is on the research side. It's a little bit more black and white, straight-laced, businessy. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. So if you want to go ahead and open up your books to the page WD65. Oh, and remember, during this video, at any point in time, it's YouTube. It's recorded. You don't have to keep it going. You can hit pause, you can fast forward, you can rewind and go over things. So you have that ability to go ahead and manipulate the lecture, if you will. So as you're pulling out your book to page WD65, if you're not ready yet, feel free to push pause and go ahead and I'll catch up with you, or you can then catch up with me. So, alright, so I'm on WD65. You can see the creating a research paper with references and sources and the objectives there. I'll let you read that. On WD66, there's a little introduction to the research paper, what it is, the project, the whole 9 yards, an example of what we're going to be doing on WD67. And WD68, we talk about the roadmap to what we're doing. Bottom half of WD68 is kind of important as we hit the MLA documentation style. So probably a good idea to read up on that, know a little bit more about the MLA documentation style. You're going to dive deeper into what that is when you start getting into some of your English classes and writing classes and things like that. So go ahead and review that just so you're kind of on the same page. WD69, talk about changing some document settings and things like that. And midway down WD69, that's where we start getting into the good stuff. So over here, I'm going to close this example that I created earlier by doing our regular file and close. And that will take me back to our, if I do new, takes me back to our main page here with the blank document. So as we can see, if you want to go ahead and run Word and create a blank document, so go ahead and launch Word however it is you do it, whether you use the little start button down here and search for it. I have it on my taskbar, it's on your desktop, however it is you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and click blank documents and get that going. So now as we go down through, wants us to maximize, make sure we're in print layout, which if we go to view, we can see we're in print layout. We go to home, we see the regular style groups, and so we want to go to page width. So if we go back to view and we hit page width, that'll zoom us in a little bit there. That'll help out for you, and I'm going to go back to that home tab. So go ahead and get your document all set up on the view for page view, page width. Get your home tab displayed and have yourself open to page WD70, and then let's get to rocking here. So top of page WD70, they want us to go ahead and click on the home tab, and they want us to display those formatting marks. So we can do that by clicking on that little backwards P up here in the paragraph group, and so you can go ahead and click on that. We can see that little backwards P showing up, showing that we have a tab there. It talks a little bit about styles and normal styles. You can review that and exactly what those are. We can find those under the style groups here. So this is our preview gallery. And basically what our styles is it's a pre-made setting of different types of text. So for instance, you can see we have the little box around our normal style setting. So if I type on that and then I hit return, I do some other random characters and I hit return, Now I'm going to do the title one over here. And when I click the title, you can see that the box changes. Now when I type, wow, my text is a lot bigger. And then when I hit enter, I go back to normal. Because that's the title style. That's the way it's set up. So we got a whole bunch of different title styles as far as the heading 1 and heading 2, changing the color. And it's just a quick way for you to change the way your font looks without having to go click, 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 click. So it just kind of saves you a little bit of time. So I'm going to highlight that there, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that, put myself back on that normal style. So we can see it on the bottom of page WD70. We have some stuff pointing out to us there as far as the home tab being pointed out. This here is that styles gallery and group there for us. Normal is selected due to the shaded box around it. We have the ability to click just the down arrow to go down to the next row, and there's a couple of different rows there. Or what we can do is hit this bottom button, the downward facing triangle with the little line above it, and then that expands the whole group and we can see the entire styles gallery that we have. So what we're going to be doing this morning is we're going to be editing a style. So what they want us to do is right click on the normal style in the style gallery. Once we go ahead and do that, they want us to click on modify. And then that pops up in our Modify Style dialog box. So what they want, we can see that we have our name here, a bunch of formatting options, a little example of what it's going to look like, and all that jazz. So down here on step 3 on page WD70, it's saying it wants us to click the font arrow to display the font list, scroll to and then select Times New Roman in the list to change the font for the style being modified. So if we click this, we have the ability to scroll all the way down to T to find Times New Roman, but that can get kind of tedious. You can also grab the little slider button here and guess. Or what you can do, and this is kind of the way I normally do it if I know what I'm looking for, is I just start typing it, Times New Roman, and it shows up. Now, when I did this in practice the other day, it made Times New Roman a recently used font for me, so it put it up here at the top of my drop-down menu. So I'm going to click on Times New Roman. I have that selected. Then the next part is step 3. It wants us to select the font size window, and it wants us to click on 12. And the last part, ensure that only in this document option button is selected. So that's right here, only in this document radio button is selected. Alright, once we got that done, we're going to go ahead and tap or click the OK button. So now that kind of goes away. Now what we're going to do is work on adjusting the line spacing for our document, and that's going to be happening on page WD72. So step 1 there, it says it wants us to click on the line and paragraph spacing button in the Home tab. It's a part of the paragraph group here, and it wants us to display the gallery, the menu. So if we click here, if you hover over here, this is the line and paragraph spacing button. When we click on that, the little menu pops out and it lets us know all of our different options. It wants us to scroll down to 2.0 and click on that. That means that our text is going to be, there's going to be a line of text. And I'll just do a quick little example, you can see that. And then when we hit the enter key to go to the next line, see how there's a blank line of equal size underneath between the 2 lines of text? That's what it means to be double spaced. Let me just highlight this here quick and show you an example. If I go back up here and click 1.0, now it moves it together. So there's a lot less space between the lines. So we want to go ahead and click that and go back down to 2.0. I'm going to highlight all this gibberish that I made, maybe, and then I'm going to hit the delete button and get rid of it. So now we have finished step 2 on page WD72. We clicked on 2.0. in the line and paragraph spacing gallery, so our spacing is double spaced. And now we're going to move to WD73, and they want us to remove the space after a paragraph. Now, if you're if you want to see something, follow along here. Don't get clicking quite yet, because I want to show you something here. Step 1, it says it wants us to click the line and paragraph spacing button. That's the one we were just clicking on. If we hover over here, it's the line and paragraph spacing button. and we pop out that little menu. Way down here at the bottom is the Remove Space After Paragraph button. Now I want to show you exactly what this does. So I'm going to click out here and not click anything on the menu, and I want you to kind of watch this one. If I go up to our page layout menu, and you remember this paragraph group right here, the spacing and the flyer when we were changing the spacing before and after the paragraph? See, right now we're set on 8 point. We have 8 points of space after the paragraph. I'm going to go back to my home tab, and I'm going to click on our line and paragraph spacing button, and it wants us to scroll down here to remove the space after the paragraph and click on that. Now when I do that, you don't really see anything change, but let's go back to our page layout tab, and here in the paragraph group under spacing, now you can see it's reset it. So we have 0 points spacing after any of our paragraphs. So that's what that button does. So I just wanted to show that to you guys quick. If you've been following along, go ahead and click on that home tab and kind of get back to where we're at. So now we're at the bottomish part of WD73. To update a style to match a selection, what we're going to go ahead and do is click the normal in this, right-click in the normal styles gallery here, and when we do that, we're going to want to go ahead and click the update normal to match the selection. So what happened is we went in and we did the modify, and we did a whole bunch of changes. Well, not a whole bunch, I guess. We just changed the font and the type and then the font size, and that was really about all we did. But now we changed the spacing after a paragraph function. So what we want to go ahead and do is update the normal style to reflect that change. So by right-clicking on normal, we hit update the normal to match the selection. Now that change of 0 points after our paragraph has been saved auto-magically to our normal style. So we have that option. Let's see here. Moving on to page WD74. Now you can read the top there about creating a header and a footer. Some pretty good information in there. I'm going to make sure I'm scrolled all the way up to the top and I can see the top of my document here in the window. And it's saying step number 1 is it wants us to tap or insert the ribbon, tap or click the insert tab on the ribbon. Okay. Wow, reading is easy this morning. So we're going to go ahead and click on the insert tab. Once we have that done, they want us to select the add a header button. So now if we kind of head over here, hover over here, this is our add a header button. And you can see it just kind of says header over here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on that one, and it's going to pop out a menu. So we're going to go and number 2 there on the top of page WD75 is we are going to click edit header in the add a header gallery. So if we scroll down here to this little pop-out menu, down at the bottom you'll see edit header. So we're going to click on that, and now you can see the little header label has popped out. You can see the little dashed line stating that this part and up here, this is all part of the header. So we have that, and we can see that our cursor is up in there, and we're going to do a little bit of editing. So now MLA style and all the different styles get a little bit different, and I'm not an English major, I'm an IT guy, so I can't really exactly tell you why some of the stuff is the way it is when it comes to MLA formatting. You're going to have to kind of save those questions for your English classes that you have. But what we're going to want to do is put our name, last name, and a page number in the header. And in doing that, because somebody a long time ago said this is the way to do it in MLA formatting, is we are going to have to right align the paragraph that is in the header of this research paper. So now in order to go and click the right align button, we're going to have to go back to our home tab. And then in the paragraph group right here, in the middle of our ribbon, we can see the right align paragraph button. So we're going to click that, and we can see it changes our cursor to be over here on the right hand side of our header. So now we have that done. So we're going to switch and flip to page WD76, and it wants us to enter the text. So in the book it's saying type Bailey and then press spacebar, but our last name isn't Bailey. So please enter your last name instead of Bailey's last name into the header. So I'm going to type Frank because my last name is Frank, and I'm going to hit the spacebar, and so now I have a space after the word Frank. Now we get to add a page number to the header here. So what we're going to want to do is, with our cursor in the header, we see up here in our above our ribbon, we have our header and footer tools design tab. Now you can see this has a color, it's green, and it's very similar to that picture tools tab that was popping up when we were working on our pictures last week. So now if I just you guys don't have to do this, if I double click down here to get out of my header and I'm back down into the main body of my my document, if you look up here above the ribbon, my header and footer design tab has disappeared. If I double click back up here in my header, I'm going to move my cursor back over here to the other side of my space after my last name, you can see that that header and footer tools has gone and come back. So you can only access this menu when your cursor is in the header or the footer of your document. So now that we're in there, what we're going to want to do is we are going to, according to step 1 here, we clicked on the header and footer tools design tab in the ribbon. We're going to want to click on add page numbers here. Once we have that done, we want to go down to the, let's see here, I'm trying to think. Let me read for a second. Tap or point to the current position on the add page number menu, current position in the gallery. So yep, my cursor is over here, so that's good. Tap or click the scroll down menu in the current position gallery to see the available numbers. So current position here, so we can kind of go ahead and scroll down here and we can see we have a whole bunch of different options for page numbers, Roman numerals, 2 bars, some titles, a mosaic, got a big letter here, we've got some brackets and different stuff like that. So what we are going to want to do is select plain number in the current position gallery. So right here we have our plain number. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and we can see we have now a page number, number 1, just on the other side of the space of my last name on the right hand side in our header. So we got that all done. Now, to close the header, you can see, and as there always is in this stuff, there's more than one way to skin a cat. We have 2 ways. The way I showed you earlier, you can just double click in the body of the document, and that will automatically close the header for you. If I double click up here, I reopen my header, my design tab comes back up. There's also a little button right up here that says close header and footer. You can click that and it closes the header and footer and does the exact same thing. Personal preference, more than one way to skin a cat and all that jazz. Moving along to page WD78, now we are going to work on typing the research paper. Again, not an English not an English teacher, so I don't exactly 100% know why it is the way it is. All I can tell you is that for MLA formatting, when writing a research paper, this is the way you do it. So as we can see, on the bottom of page WD78 into WD79, there's a little figure, figure 2-14 on the top of WD79. We are going to type that information, except we're going to change it up a little bit. We're not going to type the information that you see in there. We're not going to type Ted Bailey and Miss Pedro and English 101 and the date, because that's not the date or the teacher or the name. So what I want you to do is on the first line, type your name. Mine is Brandon Frank. Then I'm going to hit the enter button, and for some reason my style's changed here. So I don't have that double space. Remember we changed that to double space? So I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to change that to 2.0, so we're double spaced. So if yours looked like mine, where it came out not double spaced, I must not have changed it back to double spacing when I was showing you some of that stuff. Go ahead and highlight all of your lines. Go up here to the line and paragraph spacing menu and select 2.0. So that's what I did. So now we're all good. So we have Brandon Frank, then automatically a blank line, and then the next line here is the teacher's name. Well, you guys can go ahead and put my name in there. That is Mr. Frank, although I prefer to not be called Mr. Frank. We will put that in there for the sake of the argument. The name of the class, they say English 101. Well, this is Intro to MS Word is the name of this course. So you can go ahead and type that. Another enter button. And they want the date. So here's some pretty cool stuff with Microsoft Word. I can go ahead and type February 2nd, 2016, the long way like that. Or more than one way to skin a cat. We're Americans, we're lazy, we don't like to do all that typing. So if I delete all of this and go back to a blank line, I'm going to go ahead and type February, and you see here how it says press enter to insert. Word is guessing what I'm saying at this point. So if I click my enter button, it automatically spells the word February for me, which is awesome because February is the toughest month to spell. Then I click the space bar, and now you can see it automatically guesses, hey, you must be trying to put today's date in there. So I'm going to give you a shortcut to put in today's date. So if I press the enter key again, it automatically puts in 2, space 2016. So some pretty cool stuff, saves you some time, and you have that option. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this recording quick and give you guys a second to go ahead and catch up. Go ahead and feel free to pause the recording if you need to as well, and then hit play when you're ready to go. And if you're ready to go, just don't hit pause, and I'll be picking up here in just a second. My apologies on that. It's a nice, cold, chilly, snowy day, so I figured a cup of hot cocoa would be pretty nice for this morning, and I'm sure that nobody wanted to hear me slurping on my hot cocoa, so that's what that pause was for. Okay, so we are at the top of page WD79. We have just done entering our name and course information. So it should look like figure 2-14 in your book, except for we kind of changed around some of the stuff. Use your name at the top, my name for the instructor's name. Our class is called Intro to MS Word, and then the date. So we have all that done. Now what we're going to want to do is press the enter key one more time. And I need to click over here. So there, now we have the enter key in there. So now we're going to do some more typing. They want us to click and type. So now what we're going to have to do is center the first paragraph after our date. So in order to go and center our paragraph, we're going to have to make sure that our cursor is down here on the line that we want centered. And then we're going to have to head up here to our ribbon, make sure we're on our home tab. And we can see in the paragraph group is the center align button. We're going to go ahead and click on that one, and it automatically moves our cursor over to the middle of this screen. So now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and switch over to page WD80, and we can see that it wants us to type the phrase access granted. So you can go ahead and type that. Now, I suggest at this point, you do some pause, and not right now, but when I'm done talking here. At the bottom of page WD80 is some pretty good stuff for you, some keyboard shortcut stuff for you. So you can go ahead and put a bookmark in your book if you want. Go ahead and kind of look those over. Dog ear the page WD80, but just some interesting stuff for you to look over. And I've kind of shown a little bit of this stuff to you, but like bolding, increasing the line space, center align, double line or double space lines, some of the different options that you have there, underlining, subscript, superscript, that type of stuff, italics. There's a lot of convenient shortcuts for you for your keyboard that you can kind of look over. And if you feel the need to start incorporating that into your typing, by all means, go ahead. So you have that ability. So now, what they want us to do is format the text. This is at the top of page WD81. They want us to practice formatting the text using the keyboard shortcut. So once we got done typing access granted, we were supposed to hit the enter key, which I have now done. And so once your cursor is down on the next line below access granted, what they want you to do is use the keyboard shortcut to left align the next paragraph. And you do that by holding down the Control and the L button. And when you do that, you can see, presto, auto-magically our cursor moves back over to the left-hand side of the document. Sorry, that was my cell phone. And so let's see here. Now that we have that done, they want us to save the document. So we can go up here to our little save icon in the upper left-hand corner and click that. It's going to open our Save As dialog box. You can do this on a USB drive if you would like. Not really going to be able to do it on a flash drive because you're not at home. Kind of up to you on where you want to do it. So I am going to save it I'm actually connected remotely to my computer from work using some IT wizardry. So I am still actually connected to my iDrive. So I'm going to click on that. And inside of my CIS 101 folder, hopefully you have a USB drive or something like that, so you can go ahead and save this in here. I am going to, right underneath CIS 101, so I can see Adventure Flyer and the Word folder, I am going to name this, and they want it named Biometric Devices Paper. So you can go ahead and type that in, and then we are supposed to click the Save button. So I'll let you go ahead and get that saved. If you need to pause it to get that thing saved to catch up, go right ahead. We are moving on now to page WD82. Now that we have our document saved, you can see the name of the document is up here in the title bar, so we're all good to go. Now what they want us to do is display the rulers, and I already have the rulers displayed because I already like having them, so apparently they're not turned on by default. So if your rulers here on the left hand side and on the top are not displayed, the way you can display that is by going up here to the View tab above the ribbon, and then over here in the Show grouping, you can see the ruler. I'll turn mine off so you can see there's no ruler up top now with no checkbox there in the ruler option. So I'm going to go ahead and check that, and it brings up the ruler. It's just kind of nice and handy. I like it to be there. It's just something that I can then see. So we have the ruler enabled. So once we have that done, now we're going to make it so all of the first lines in all of our paragraphs are automatically indented a ½ inch. So that way we don't have to click the tab button to go and put that space in there every single time we start a new paragraph. So I'm just kind of showing you guys there. So I'm going to erase those. Oop. Go back down there, Control L to get back to there. So what we're going to want to do is go up here to our ruler, and you can see the horizontal ruler here. There is a little hourglass shaped guy here, and what this is it is the first line indent marker, and the left indent marker is the top and the bottom. So I'm hovering over the bottom triangle of the little hourglass, and that's left indent, and if I hover over the top one, it's the first line indent. So we're going to want to grab just the top part of the hourglass, the first line indent arrow. We're going to want to click and hold on that, and then we're going to want to drag it over here to this little halfway dash, so we're halfway between where we started and the 1. So that's a ½ inch. So now we have set a ½ inch indent on all of our new paragraph. So I can see when I hit the Enter key, I'm automatically moved over to that halfway point. So I'm just going to erase that and get back here. So moving on to WD84, now we get to do a little bit more typing, and we get to see how the word wrap functions with the indent. So what I'm going to do is let you guys go ahead and type step 4 at the top of WD84. I'm going to pause my recording so you guys don't have to hear the ticka 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 of me going and typing. So once you get that all typed, you can go ahead and pause this video you're watching, and once you're all done and typed, go ahead and hit the play button again. Alright, so I have that typed on mine now, and hopefully you do as well. If you do not have that typed yet, go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and get it all typed out. Once you have it typed, feel free to go ahead and then hit play again. So now, what we are going to do is we are going to experiment with Microsoft Word's autocorrect. So with this one here now, if we can see on the bottom of page WD84, the first step in step 1 there is they want us to push the space bar. Oop, I need to click on my window here. Push the space bar. There, now I have the space in there. So now what they want us to do is type the beginning of this sentence, and at the very end you're going to say type a phrase into a digital code that, but you're going to purposefully misspell the word that. Now when you type TAHT, make sure you're looking at the word on the screen when you push the spacebar, because something magical is going to happen, and I'll show you here in just a second. So I type these devices translate a biometric element such as a fingerprint into a digital code TAHT. So you can see I have misspelled the word that, TAHT. So when I hit the spacebar, autocorrect auto-magically says, hey, that's not right, and it changes it into the correct text. So now we're going to go ahead and finish typing the rest of the sentence, and at the bottom of page WD84 is compared with a digital code computer, period. Alright, so now we have a couple of autocorrect options that we're going to look into. So we're at the top of page WD85, so if we hover our mouse over the word that, the one that got autocorrected, you can see there's that little, I don't know, not triangle, what is that? That's a rectangle. There's a little rectangle that kind of pops up there, and if you kind of move your mouse over that rectangle, the autocorrect options menu appears to you. So you go ahead and click on that, and you can see that we have some options here. We can undo it, so we can change it back to TAHT. We can stop auto-correcting that word, or we can go into the autocorrect options, which is what the book wants us to do. So let's go ahead and click Control Autocorrect Options. That'll pop open our autocorrect English United States dialog box. So some pretty darn cool stuff that we can do in here. Moving on to page WD86. Hold on a second. Let me go back to WD85. What's going on here? So they want us to, just kind of look at it and then see what's going on. You can kind of look into a few of these here. We're going to do some more stuff with the autocorrect dialog box here later on in the chapter. So just kind of look at it for now, and then we can go ahead and hit the escape button or the cancel button, and then that will go and close out that dialog box. So if we go to WD85, what we're going to be doing now is we are going to enter in a word for autocorrect to fix for us. So if we go to our File tab to open up our Backstage view, then they want us to go down here to Options and click on that. Once we're in Options, then it wants us to click Proofing here on the left-hand side in the navigation pane. And then we can click autocorrect options. So just another way to get back to this little autocorrect dialog box. So now what it wants us to do is right here in the replace text as you type portion of the box under the autocorrect tab, we are going to take and misspell the word computer. So we are going to type it C-O-M-P-T-U-E-R. So it's been spelled incorrectly. Now I already did this once, so it's already in mine, but it should be in yours. Then over here with the word with, go ahead and type computer the correct way. Once you go ahead and do that, go ahead and click the replace button. And it's saying it already exists. Do you want to redefine it? I'm going to say no, just because you guys didn't get that. So now you'll see the word computer spelled wrong, and then you're going to replace it with the word computer spelled right. And once you have that done, then you can go ahead and click, let's see here. If a dialog box pops up asking you to add the entry alphabetically into the list of words, go ahead and click add. So if there's something saying, are you sure you want to do this, yes or no, go ahead and click the yes button. So here, let me just, I'll just delete mine out of there, and then I'll add it in there so we can see here. So it's added in there. Once that's done, I'm going to click OK, and it takes it, and I'm going to click OK again, and then it takes it. So now we're all good to go. So move on to WD88, and so now what we're going to do is a little bit more typing here. So they want us to enter in 2 more paragraphs at the top of page 88. So go ahead on step 1 and step 2 and step 3 and go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause the recording. No need for you guys to watch me type, and you can go ahead and pause the recording, the video as well, and then go and do your typing. And once you're done, go ahead and hit the play button, and we'll pick back up at the top of page WD89 to change the bibliography style. So that's the plan. Okay, so I got that all typed out now, and hopefully you do too. If you do not, go ahead and pause the video, get all caught up, and then when you're all caught up, go ahead and hit play again. So at the top of page WD89, what they want us to go ahead and do, the other thing, make sure you intentionally spell readers wrong here. We're going to come back to that later on in the chapter, so you can just kind of leave that the way it is. So now what we're going to do at the top of page WD89 is we're going to change the bibliography style. So in order to do that, now this is one of the nice things about Microsoft Word these days. Back when I was a kid, we actually had to know MLA formatting and writing styles. Like, I can remember going to the campus bookstore, and I couldn't tell you the amount of times I had to purchase and use a MLA, the 5th edition style guide or something like that. And it was a spiral bound book, about 80 pages long, and you just kind of flipped through it and told you all the different do's and don'ts of how to make sure that your paper is following MLA style formatting. And it sucked. So now Microsoft Word is smart enough to do all of the MLA formatting for you, you lucky kids. So what we're going to do is head up to the References tab here above our ribbon, and go ahead and click on that. And now we can see right here in the Citations and Bibliography group, we have a little style menu. If you go ahead and you click on that little drop-down arrow there, we can see we have APA style, 6th edition, Chicago, whatever GB 7714 is, Ghost, Harvard, IEEE, ISO stuff, MLA, all this different kind of stuff. So if you're not selected on MLA, the 7th edition, go ahead and click MLA, the 7th edition. So that is what mine is on. So now, as we go about doing stuff, it will be done in the proper MLA format, which is awesome and is going to save you a lot of hair in your head from pulling the hair out being frustrated with MLA styling. Moving on to WD90. What we're going to do now is insert a citation into the research paper. Hopefully you guys know that when it comes to having a research paper, you can't just take other people's arguments, thoughts, ideas, sentences, and put them into your document as if they're your own. That's called plagiarism, and people, including us at the college, tend to frown upon that. Usually that wins you a free ticket into the dean's office, where you get to talk about plagiarism and why it's bad and why we don't do it here at Western. So to avoid that, you can reference other people's works, ideas, sentences, thoughts, and all that different type of stuff inside of your research paper to strengthen your argument, but you have to give credit to that person and say, hey, this idea isn't 100% mine, I'm borrowing it from this other really smart person, and that person is helping me go and strengthen my argument. So what we're going to be learning how to do here is insert citations to let our readers know when something in our research paper is credited to another author. So we can see at the top of page WD90, number 1, we are going to click the Insert Citation button. Now we can see that under the References tab right here in the Citations and Bibliography is the big Insert Citation button. When we do that, we get a little drop-down menu, and we're going to want to select the top option, Add a New Source. So go ahead and click on that, and our Create Source dialog box goes ahead and pops up. Now, this is really nice because back when I was a kid, we had to flip open our MLA formatting book and try and figure out what order, is it the first name first, is it the last name first, then is it the publisher, is it the title of the book, is it the year it was printed, what if it's an online article, what if it's an online periodical, what if it came out of a newspaper, what if it came out of a journal. There are so many different things you need to do for all of those different places you're getting your information from. Here in this Create Source dialog box, it tells you what it needs. You just put the information in there, and then it arranges it and formats it correctly for you, which is super awesome. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to change the type of source option we have up here. So we're going to click this little drop down. This is not a website. We want this to be an article in a periodical. Now a periodical, that is like a magazine, a scholarly magazine, you know, not necessarily talking about Field and Stream or Mad TV or anything like that. You know, we're talking some like scholarly articles of some sorts. If there's something in the nursing program or anything like that, that is a reputable source, that's what we would be going ahead and doing. So what we're going to do is select article and periodical. That's going to kind of change up what we have here for options a little bit. And then as you can see at the bottom-ish of page WD90, we're going to fill in all this information. Now normally you'd get this from the article in the periodical, you know, the author, the pages it's on, what periodical you are using, all that different type of stuff. So all that information will be available to you on the actual resource you're using, but being we don't actually have the resource in front of us, we're going to use the information provided to us in the book. So go ahead and type on the author field here, and we're going to go ahead and type Rossi, comma, space, Marcel Enrico as the author. Now, we're going to go down here to the title box, and we are going to type understanding how to use fingerprint readers. Once we're done with that, we can go and kind of just go down here a little bit easier because we're Americans. We don't like going all the way over to our mouse and clicking. It's so much work. What we can do is hit the tab key, and that will automatically move us down to the next field available, periodical title. For there, we can go ahead and type Digital Security Review, hit the tab key. Year is 2014, hit the tab key. August is the month, the day is going to be skipped with another tab key. So pages, we're going to type lowercase n period space PAG period for the page numbers. That indicates that the source has no page number in the reference. Once we have that done, we hit the tab page again, and the medium is going to be the web. So we got this from the online version of the periodical Digital Security Review. So there are no page numbers for us to use, and it came from the web, so we know all that. Now, down in the lower left-hand corner is the Show All Bibliography Fields option. We're going to click that checkbox, and now a whole bunch of more options go and kind of show up on our screen. So what we're going to want to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and when we're all the way down to the bottom, just below the medium is the year access, month access, then date access. So what we're going to want to go ahead and do is type 2014 in the year, tab, then we're going to go and type October, tab, date access, we are going to type 3. So there we go, we have that information in there. Once that's done, go ahead and click the OK button. Now, before you click that OK button, if you look down here right next to computer, watch what happens here when I click the OK button. A citation here, parentheses Rossi, the author's last name, close parentheses, is automatically put right next to the word computer. And what this tells our reader is as they're going and reading through our paper and they read this sentence here about the fingerprint reader being set up to authenticate users before they can access a computer, they see that that is cited to a person named Rossi. And what they can then do, we're going to create a bibliography and in a little bit, and so once that's created, is they can scroll down into the bibliography and they can look at the author Rossi, what article we got it from, where we got it from, and then they can read more about that article if they so choose. And then that way we have given credit to Rossi, so we're not plagiarizing, you know, we're giving him the citation on using his thoughts and words and sentences and ideas, and the reader knows about it, so the reader can do any further investigation if they choose. So that's the point of the whole citation, and once you guys get into your English classes, you're going to do a lot more of this stuff. So, bottom of page WD91, we have that in there now, so what they're going to want us to do is enter some more text, so go ahead and hit the space bar, and then type the text there on step 2 at the bottom of page WD91. Okay. If you don't have that typed yet, feel free to go ahead and hit the pause button on the video. Go ahead and catch up, and once you have that typed, and it looks like it does on my screen, go ahead and hit the save button, and then you can go ahead and click the play button. So, alright. So now, hopefully everybody's all caught up. So we have our we just saved our document by clicking the save icon up here in the upper left-hand corner, and we have our access granted, we have this paragraph, we have that paragraph, so make sure that you're all caught up and everything like that. We're on the top of page, in the middle of page, WD92. So now what they want us to do is insert a footnote reference mark. Now a footnote is something you add to your document, so if you use a phrase or a word that might not necessarily to make sense to some people, but may make sense to other people, what you can do is create a footnote at the bottom of the page so that the people who do know what it means can just keep right on reading and don't have to stop, and they don't have to be bored by you explaining something that they already know. Now, if it's somebody who doesn't know what you're talking about, you put the footnote in there, they see that footnote marker, they know they can go to the bottom of the page and they can read an explanation about what you're talking about, so that way it makes a little bit more sense to them. So that's why we're going to go ahead and insert this footnote reference mark. So with our cursor here at the end of the paragraph next to readers, what we're going to want to do is go up to our references tab, click on that so that we have that ribbon displayed, and once we have that done, we're going to go over here to the insert footnote button. Go ahead and click on that. When we click the insert footnote button, we can see a little chunk, a little line pop out here, and then there's a very small number 1, and we can see a very small number 1. This is called superscript when it is halfway above, small and halfway above our text that we're writing. That means you get done reading the sentence, you see the number 1 identifying the footnote, so you know if you come down here to the bottom of the page, this explanation of number 1 is going to explain what the heck we're talking about here with built-in fingerprint readers. So we can see at the top of page WD93 that we are going to enter the footnote. So go ahead and type that paragraph. Oh man, I can't type today. The computer, and then press space bar. So once we have that done, now what we're going to do is insert a citation placeholder. Now you can see on the middle-ish of page WD93 there's a big bold italicized why. Why would we insert a citation placeholder? So sometimes you may not have the source information readily available to you at the time you're typing your paper, but you want to put the placeholder in there so later you can come back and you can add all of the information in there and you don't forget about it, and then you don't have to worry about plagiarism. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our Insert Citation button underneath the References tab, and if you go down here to the bottom of the menu is Add New Placeholder. So go ahead and click on that. Now we're going to name this one N-A-D-E-E-R, Nader. And once you do that, go ahead and click OK and flip over to page WD94. So once we have that done, now we can hit the period key and we can see we have a citation entered here for Nader. And there's no information. We didn't fill out all of that info and stuff like that like we did for the Rossi citation, but it just reminds us, hey, we got to get all that information about this Nader article and we got to put it in there so we're all legit. So now at the bottom of page WD94, we'll come back to that later, we are going to modify a style using the shortcut menu. So don't you know if you've noticed or not, if we go to our Home tab, we can see that inside of our footnote here, if we go up to our Home tab, we can see that it doesn't match our type size and font for the rest of our document. We want to change that. So what we're going to do is right-click somewhere in the footer, and we're going to go up here to the Style menu in the middle of the menu. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to open up that little style guy here. So we can go ahead and change that. Now, what we are going to do is, this does not look right. So we're going to hold off here a second. Oh, there it is. We are going to click the Modify button right here in the right-hand side. Once we click that Modify button, now we're back here. This looks a lot more better and a lot more like we're used to. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to change our font to size 12 to match the rest of our text, and we are going to come over here and click the double space button. Now unfortunately, when you hover over these buttons, they don't really pop out that label to tell you exactly what they are, so you're just going to have to trust me at my word that this is single spaced, this is 1.5 spaced, and this is double spaced. So that's the way that works. Once that's done, we're going to want to go ahead and click the Format button down here in the lower left-hand corner, and we're going to want to select the Paragraph option. And that's going to pop open the Paragraph dialog box. Once that is open, we're going to go over here to Special on the indentation, and we are going to we're going to select first line. And what this tells us is that the first line of our footnote is going to be indented by 1/2 an inch, just like the rest of our paragraph, so our formatting stays the same. So go ahead and click OK, and then once that's done, you can go ahead and click OK over here, and then we can click Apply, and presto changeo, our top line has been indented 1/2 an inch, and our text is size 12 now. So that's how you'd modify that using that menu. So you have that option. Now we're going to go ahead and edit a source. So we've walked away from our computer, we went to the library, we found that Nader article back, and so we're going to go ahead and right-click on Nader. We're at the bottom of page WD 96, by the way. And we are going to go to Edit Source, and we can find that. Oh, sorry, we don't go. My bad. Let's back up here a second. So we are going to left click on Nader. We're going to left click on Nader, and then down here is a little triangle facing down for citation options. Click on that. Then there pops open our menu, giving us the option to edit the source. So we go ahead and click on that. This looks pretty darn familiar, doesn't it? On page WD 797 goes and it walks us through what we're going to be doing. So in the type of source drop-down window up here, we are going to go ahead and select book. So this is coming from a book at the very top here. So that kind of changes what we're going to be doing here. So once we have that done, now we're going to start entering in our information. Now this one gets a little interesting because we are going to have 2 authors for this Nader book. So if we hit the edit button over here, this pops open the edit name dialog box, and it just kind of helps us out a little bit. So we're going to see how this works. Rather than us trying to guess how to put 2 names inside of this author box, if we click edit, we can go up here and we can add as many authors as we want. So we know according to step 2, the last bullet point on page WD 97, that we need to type Nader in the last name column, Aisha in the first name column, and in the middle name column we're going to use Sati, however you pronounce that one. So once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and click the Add button here on the right hand side. That adds Aisha Sati Nader. So now we're going to go up here and click in the last name column, and we are going to type the name White, hit Tab, Jonathan, Tab, Richard. So we're adding Jonathan Richard White as another author. So we click the Add button. So now we can see we have Nader and we have White both in here because they both wrote the book that we're using as a source. So once that's done, go ahead and click OK. Switch to page WD 89. Now that that is done, we can go ahead and enter in some more information. So go ahead and click in title. You can type biometric security. Hit the tab key, we can type 2014. Hit the tab key, we can type Chicago as the city, press the tab key. Windy City Press as the publisher. And then tab one more time, and for the medium we're going to type print because it is a book that's actually printed on pages. So now that we have that done, my question to you guys is, where did these authors come from? That info came from our edit window over here when we added those in. Where does the rest of this info come from? It comes from the book. You'll have to actually take the book and open it up and look around. Usually in the front cover is the front couple of pages, or else the back cover, back couple of pages, is where you'll find the title of the book, the year it was published, the city it was published in, the name of the publisher, and then the medium is print. So that's where you would find all of that information. So once that's done, go ahead and click the OK button. Now we can see that our citation here has changed from Nader to Nader and White. So that's the name of both of the authors. So we have that ability. Now at the bottom of page WD98, we are going to edit this citation. So if we kind of click on it so it's highlighted, you can see that little box popping up around, the little downward facing triangle. Go ahead and click that. Now we have our ability to edit the citation. So go ahead and click on that. Once that's done, we are going to click on title is what we're going to use, and then up here in the pages menu we're going to type 62-63. So what we're saying there is we are not going to use the author's last name as the citation. We are going to be using the title of the book and pages 62-63. So go ahead and click OK. Oh, my mistake. Let's go see that. Oh, suppress. My mistake. We are suppressing the title of the book, so that way this title of the book doesn't end up in our citation at all, and we are using pages 62-63. So now we can see that if we go to Nader and White in our citation, our bibliography, we'll be able to see which book we used. We can go to that book in the library, open it up to page 62-63, and we will see this information that we have typed in our research paper, giving credit to Nader and White for their thoughts, comments, words, ideas, and theories, and things like that. And therefore, we are not plagiarizing, which is a good thing. So, now we have all that done. Moving on to page WD100, we got some more text to enter. So what we're going to do is position the key after the final, after the note reference mark at the in the document, and then press the enter key. So right up here, and then we're going to press enter. And now we are going to type a 3-sentence paragraph at the top of page WD100. It is step number 2 under enter more text. I am going to pause the recording and then I will type it out. Feel free to pause the video so you can type it out. When you have the 3 sentences typed, feel free to click the play button and we will pick up there. Alright, so I have that all typed up over here, those 3 sentences from the top of page WD100, so we're going to move on down to the bottom of page WD100. And if we look, what they want us to do now is use the count words feature. So if we go down here to our lower left-hand corner, we can see our word counter is going on there for us. If we click on that once, it opens our word count dialog box. So it tells us we have 1 page, it tells us we have 219 words, number of characters with no spaces, number of characters with spaces, paragraphs, lines, and all that jazz. And we're including text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes in that count as well. So you can go ahead and hit close. They just wanted you to be aware of that. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is enter more text and then insert a citation placeholder. So what I am going to do is type at the bottom of page WD100, step number 2, type the rest of this 3rd paragraph after the word public. I am going to go ahead and type in that information. So go ahead there, I'll hit the spacebar, and now I'm going to start typing on that, and hopefully you do as well. Again, pausing the recording, you can pause your video, and then when you're done typing, you can go ahead and hit play again. Alright, and we're back. I have all of number 2 typed now, so let's go ahead and take a look at my window and how this looks. We can see that started typing all of this stuff. We got to our word wrap. It was going to come down here, but we had our footer here. Our footer stays on the page, so then we're going to jump down here to page number 2. Notice up here in our header, the footnote changes to Frank space 2 because this is our second page. So right now we have our cursor at the end of hairstyles on the other side of the space after hairstyles. Now what they want us to do is go up here to our references tab and then insert citation, and we are going to insert another placeholder. So you can go ahead and click on add new placeholder, and then here we are going to type Alan Smith, one word, Alan Smith. So once you have that done, go ahead and hit OK, hit the period button, and the sentence has been ended. Moving along to page WD 102. Just some more formatting stuff, how it looks for you here, personal preference. As you see in the top of page WD 102, between the two pages here in this dark gray, we can double click, and that will get rid of the white space. And now by the white space, we're talking about all this white space in the footer and up here in the header where there is no information for us. If you want to get rid of that space, so it's too space consuming and wasting on your monitor, you can double click there, and then it just kind of flows a little bit easier for you. Otherwise, you can go ahead and double click there right on that line to bring that space back. I personally leave the white space. I feel it makes the document look more real. So that's just my personal preference. Moving along to page WD 103, we are going to edit a source in a different way now. So with our References tab selected, inside of our Citations and Bibliography group is the Manage Sources button. Go ahead and click on that one. And that's going to open up our Source Manager dialog box. Now, if we go ahead and look over here in the current list, we can see that we have Nader, Rossi, Nader and White. White is in here as well, so this is the two citations we filled out. Now, Alan Smith over here has a question mark next to him because he has no information, so we can't see what's going to be put into the bibliography because there's no information to put into the bibliography. So what we're going to want to do is hit the edit button. And when we do that, it pops open this nice edit source dialog box. Now, what we're going to have to do is go to the type of source arrow, and we want to scroll down to website. So let's see here, where is that? Take a second to find that. There that is. So you have website up here in the type of source. Once you have that done, then go down here to the lower left-hand corner, and we want to select Show All Bibliography Fields so we can see all of this different stuff. Now go ahead and do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all on your own here at your own pace. We're going to fill in that information from page WD 103. Production company, it's going to be technology, year accessed is 2014, month it was accessed was September 16, and web is, year, day, year accessed, we want to go down to medium here to web. Okay, so we have all that information in there. Make sure that you have all of your information in the correct spot. Let's see here. Oops, I did not put mine in the correct spot. So I'll fix that here quick. So your access is 2014, September 16th. So I can delete that information. So make sure you're in the year access, not in the year, month, and day it was published. So that information is important. So once you have this all done correctly, we're going to go ahead and click the OK button. Now we can see that Alan Smith has gotten all of the other information, and there's a checkbox, which means we can create a citation based upon that. Turning the page to page WD 104. So now we get to enter some more text. Go ahead and click the close button. We have some more information there. They want us to go ahead and have our cursor on the other side of the Alan Smith citation, and they want us to start the fourth paragraph by pressing the Enter key. You can see it's automatically indented. Then at the top of page 104, step 2, there's the last paragraph they want you to enter. I'm going to pause the recording. Go ahead and enter the information in, and then click the Save button, and we'll meet back at the top of page WD 105. Alright, so now I got that final paragraph from page WD 104 typed in there. Hopefully you do as well, and yours looks much like mine. So we're on page 2 here, and we have that paragraph in there. Go ahead and save your document if you haven't already by clicking on that little save icon up there. And now we're going to head over to the top of page WD 105. We are going to manually set a page break. Now, entering a page break in a document means that you automatically go to a new blank page is basically what we're going to be doing. Now, why do we want to set an automatic page break? Why don't we just keep hitting the Enter button until we end up down here on our new page? There we go. Why mess around with the insert page break? So now if I type here start of page 3, now I'm just doing this as an example for you. And all of a sudden I'm doing some reading, I found some more information that I want to add here to this paragraph. So if I go, let's just see here, fingerprint scanning has the ability to turn on Skynet, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger has to come and save us from all of the machines! Exclamation point. So I added a couple extra lines in here. Now let's scroll down here to the start of page 3. Oh man, all of those carriage returns we did to get to our new blank page had moved down into the new page. So we would need to hit there, and we would need to delete those carriage returns to put the start of page 3 back at the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo all of this. So I'm going to get rid of all of those carriage returns. I am going to get rid of that sentence about Skynet. And at the end of technology here, now this is coming out of the book here, page WD 105, right in the middle there, inserting a page break manually. So what we're going to want to do is go up to our Insert tab right above our ribbon. Over here on the left-hand side is Page Breaks. So when you click on that, we can see it automatically moved our information down to the top of page 3. So now if we scroll up, we can see here that we have a page break put in. Now what if I want to add that sentence about Skynet and Arnold Schwarzenegger coming to save all of us again? So I'll go ahead and put a space in there. Fingerprint scanners have the ability to turn on Skynet, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger has to come and save the world! Exclamation point. So I've added 2 more lines of text. See that page break has kind of moved down a little bit. And when we scroll down here, the start of page 3 is still at the top of page 3. So it just gives you the ability to keep adding text to this page and have it not affect the formatting of this page. Alright, hopefully there are no questions on there. If there is, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email or swing by my office hours and we can go ahead and talk about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that information there in those spaces. We have our page break still in there, and I'm going to delete the start of page 3 here. So we have page 3 started. We see my last name and the page number of 3. You should see your last name and then the page number of 3. And then because we have our formatting marks turned on, we can see the page break. Without those formatting marks, page breaks are invisible. So it's kind of nice to have those formatting marks on so that we can see some of that invisible stuff. Okay, so now let's switch to WD 106, and what they want us to do is center align the text and apply the normal style and type works cited. So go ahead and do that. If we go down here, our cursor is down here. They want us to click normal to apply the normal title style. They want us to use Control-E keyboard shortcut to center align our words, and then feel free to type works cited. So once you have that done, now at the top of page WD 107, we can go up to our References tab above our ribbon and click on the Bibliography button here to pop out the Bibliography menu. Now this is where we are going to insert our bibliography. Back when I was a kid, I actually had to type my own bibliography. Now because we've put all of the information of all of our sources into that Manage Sources part of the Citations and Sources group here, Word already knows all the information we know. So based upon what type of biography, references, works cited that we want, it will automatically create it for us. So what we're going to do is scroll down here to the Insert Bibliography button. Go ahead and click on that one. When you do that, we can see our bibliography is already set up for us. So we don't have to worry about buying that MLA formatting book and trying to figure out what comes first, what goes where. You know, it puts it in alphabetical order, it properly italicizes what needs to be italicized, and puts everything in the correct order. So you see how web shows up over here, where here print is the last thing that shows up. So, I mean, depending upon your sources, it's different format for how it gets displayed. You will save yourself a ton of stress and formatting issues if you just go ahead and use the Manage Sources up here in the Reference tab. I do it all the time, and I highly suggest you guys do as well. Now, for some reason, I can see on mine it didn't come out as double space, so I'm going to go back up to my Home tab. I'm going to select the double spacing option here. So now here, all of my information is double spaced the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Moving on to page WD 108. Some more information about formatting paragraphs with hanging indents, proofreading all this information. At the bottom of that, make sure you read that. They want us to save the document, so go ahead and click Save the Document. Bottom of page WD 108, proofread and revise your research paper. Always good to proofread and revise your research paper. Have somebody else do it. A fresh set of eyes is awesome. You would be amazed at how terrible the spelling and grammar are in homework assignments that get submitted to me by people who have graduated high school and have moved on to a level of higher education here at Western. It just floors me, the terrible usage. My biggest stickler, there, and there. T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. There, and there. There are three different words with three different meanings. You have to use the correct word for the correct meaning at the correct time. The other one that really gets me is your and just basic simple grammar punctuation. AOL text ease, the abbreviations, PLZ for please, just drives me bonkers. So please proofread your assignments, have somebody else proofread your assignments, and make sure that everything is correct. Now, page WD 109, modifying a source. What we are going to go ahead and do is up here in the References tab, we are going to click on Manage Sources and pop open the Source Manager dialog box. We want to do a little editing to Rossi, so go ahead and click on that and highlight it. Click on the Edit button, and it opens up our Edit Source dialog box. Now, what we want to do is take the title box here, and we want to delete the word understanding. So go ahead and delete that. So now the first letter in the title is how to use fingerprint readers. Once that's done, click OK, click Yes, click Close, and now we've made that change. However, we need to update the source. You can see if we look at Rossi down here, understanding how to use fingerprint readers is still in there. So what you're going to want to have to do, and now we're on the page WD 110, is right-click in our works cited here that's automatically been entered, and we want to click Update Field. Now when we go ahead and do that, it updates the information. I lost my double spacing, so I'll highlight that again, go back to Home, and 2.0. And now when we look here at our title for the Rossi book, we can see that understanding has been removed, and now the title is how to use fingerprint readers. So that's how we would update that information. Now a little navigation for you here on the top of page 111. We have multiple pages here, 3 in this document. Hopefully your documents end up with much more than 3 pages on it when you're writing those with lots of good information. So what we're going to want to do is go up to our View tab. And inside of our View tab here in the Show group, right underneath Ruler here, we were visiting that earlier, go ahead and click Navigation Pane. And that opens this up on our right-hand side. Now we have a couple different options for navigating through our document. We can see pages here, so we can go ahead and click to page 3, page 1, page 2. So it just kind of helps us get around the document a little bit easier, especially if you have lots of pages. Once you go ahead and you have that done, then let's go ahead and they want us to go to our second page, so we've clicked on that. Once that's done, we can click the X up here to close the navigation pane, and now we're back into our regular print layout. A little information on cutting, copying, and pasting. I told you we'd get into that here in a little bit. Last one we were working with moving some text around. What we're going to want to do is in this last paragraph, right after the Allen Smith citation, we want to take the word biometric here and highlight that. You can click and drag across it or double click in the sentence. It's completely up to you. And what we want to do is in the Home tab on our ribbon, over here on the left-hand side under the clipboard group, is we want to go ahead and select the Copy button. Now this copies this word to our clipboard. Our clipboard is kind of a made-up fairy tale thing that lives somewhere inside of the Word program, and when you hit that copy button, that's just where it goes. They say it gets saved, it gets copied to the clipboard. However, I don't know if there's a way to actually see the clipboard. So basically, once you hit that copy button, Word remembers that this word is what you're going to be pasting a copy of somewhere if you click the paste button. So what we're going to want to do is scroll up here to the sentence that starts, or here. So we want to move to Home here. We want to move down here to Fingerprint and Devices. Make sure you're on the correct side of the space. And then up here in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to click the Paste button. And we can see we made a copy of the word biometric, and it was entered right in here, and we didn't have to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do some more reading on that as far as copying and pasting goes. You can go ahead and hover over the word biometric here. We can click on this control menu and it gives you some different paste options. They talk about that at the top of page WD13. You can check that one out. Now, let's say we're looking for a specific word in our document. We have the ability to find just that word. Up here under our Home tab, on the right-hand side of our ribbon, is the Find option. And it's got the little binoculars, and it's pretty much exactly what you'd think. Over here in Navigation, we're just going to go ahead and type the word that we are looking for. And we are looking for the word element. So go ahead and type element in there, and it automatically searches for it. And we can see the word elephant. Element shows up 2 times. We have 2 results. So we can see it highlighted here on page 1. And if we click on page 2, we can see it highlighted here on page 2. So we have 2 different examples of the word element. So we have that. Now, if we wanted to change the word element with something else, we have the Replace option here right underneath Find. So what we want to do is find and replace. So what we're going to do here is find what? We have the word element. Then we want to, down here, replace with, and we want to replace it with the word identifier. So every time Microsoft Word finds the word element, it's going to replace it with the word identifier. So once we're done with that, go ahead and hit replace. Or replace all. I hit replace once, so now we're down to the next one. We can see it in the second page, so we can click replace all, and then there, we've made 2 replacements. So now all of the words element have been changed to the word identifier. Moving on to page WD15. find and insert a synonym. So what we're going to do is go down to that last paragraph, and under the word occupational, we're going to find a synonym for the word occupational. Now, a synonym is a different word with roughly the similar meaning as the original word. So if we right click on occupational, we go down to synonym here in the little menu, it gives us words that have a similar definition to the word occupational: work-related, job-related, professional, industrial, working, business. So we have that ability to change it to a different word that sounds the same. So if you find yourself using the word occupational over and over and over and you want to mix it up a little bit, you can use these synonyms to change that. Book wants us to use the word business, so we can go ahead and select on that. So now it's home and business users instead of home and occupational users. So we have that ability. Spelling and grammar check. If the top of page 1, I'm sure you've noticed we still have this little spelling error here. If we go up to the review tab here above our ribbon and click on that, over on the left hand side is the spelling and grammar check button. You can go ahead and click on that and it pops open our spelling window over here on the right hand side, and it's saying that RADERS is a incorrectly spelled word. It gives us some options. We can see readers here. We know that's what we want, so we can go ahead and click change is what it wants us to do. So we can go ahead and click OK because we're all done with that. So now the last thing we have is, I believe it's the last thing we have in the chapter here about, we have a couple things left to go. One of the last things is the research task pane. So what we can do is, I'm going to close our navigation pane here, is we can go to the fingerprint reader sentence here in the second paragraph, and in this sentence is the word legitimate, and we can find that right, guess I can't read, I missed the word, a fingerprint, a face, oh, I'm in the wrong one. We're down here in this one. Look in the right paragraph. That might help, Brandon. So right here is the word legitimate. Now what we can go ahead and do is use the Alt key to click on the word we want to look up. So if we hold down Alt and then we click on legitimate, it opens up the research pane. And now we can see we have Bing here, the definition of legitimate at dictionary.com, another definition, synonyms. So it goes out onto the internet and it does some research for us and some searching automatically. And we can go ahead and scroll down here. We can change the source it's coming from. Right now we're coming from Bing. We can go ahead and go to Factivia iWords. We can go ahead and do a thesaurus in English. We have an Encarta dictionary, so we have lots of different options there for the different type of research options that we have. So once you're done with that, we can go ahead and click the X. We just kind of wanted to point that out. Now we can go ahead and save the document one more time up here in the upper right-hand corner. Once that has been saved, now we're going to go ahead and do some zooming here and some format layout stuff. So go ahead to the View tab, and they want us to select multiple pages. So this just kind of shows us how we can go ahead and show the multiple pages all at the same time. So we can see here we've got page 1, page 2, and then we have down here page 3. So some good information there for you. Over on the page WD 121, when we're all finished, we see that we can go ahead and go back to page width. At the bottom of page 121, we can change our read mode color. So if we're in view and we go to read mode, if you're the type of person who a white bright background with black text is just too much for you, it hurts your eyes, I know I get that way sometimes. If you go up here to view, you have the option to select your page color. We can choose sepia, which turns the background brown, and then you have the black on that, so hopefully it might not hurt your eyes as much. If you hit view page color, we also have inverse, so we have a black background with white text. Some people find this and less painful to read. For me, it just kind of depends upon my day and my mood. That is all personal preference for you. As far as it goes about printing the document there, I'm middle of the way through WD 122. You do not need to print this document. I told you that from the get-go here the other day, that I will never ask you guys to print any documents, so you do not need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and change my document back to no color, so white background, black text, and I'm going to change back to my print layout view. So that's the way I'm going to have my document. I'm going to hit the Save tab icon up here one more time just for good luck. And then once that's done, you can go ahead and close the document. And feel free to head to Blackboard, and you can upload that in the Simon Says number 3 option for Chapter 2, Creating a Research Paper with References and Sources. Again, if there are any questions on anything, feel free to go ahead and go back through this little lecture here. You can watch the video as many times as you want, or feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email. If you have a question about anything, go ahead and do that, and we can go ahead and work that out. If you send me an email saying, hey Brandon, I don't know how to change the access granted line to center align. Well, what I'm probably going to do is tell you to either look on page number, whatever page that was, or I'm going to tell you to go to 10 minutes into the video and watch there. So make sure you kind of do a little self-help there and try and figure it out for a little bit. Again, I firmly believe struggling is learning sometimes, not always. So feel free to ask me some questions if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck. Remember that on page WD 128 to page WD 131 is the in the lab assignment for lab number 1, preparing a short research paper. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and use for the identification line here, go ahead and use your name, my name. You can call me Brandon Frank, Brandon, Mr. Frank, coolest professor ever, whatever it is you'd like to throw up in here. Intro to Microsoft Word is the name of the course, and then use the date of the day that you're going and working on it. So, and for the page number up here, make sure you use your last name and then the page number 1. So go ahead and work through that. All the citation information and everything you need should be in there. If you have any questions on that, again, feel free to let me know. But if you have any further questions, I'll refer you back to either the video or page number. And then if you still have any questions, we can go ahead and go from there. So good luck. Thank you very much for watching this. And hopefully you guys were able to enjoy your snow day.